right. Hey, everybody. It is Crystal Johnson and my special guest, Colette Ellis. And we are going to get started in just a moment, but want to give more folks the opportunity to join the conversation. If you are hearing and seeing us on screen, please let us know and also share with us where it is that you are listening and watching from. We would love to hear from you in the chat. And Colleen, I want to forewarn you, sometimes these comments come in very slowly from LinkedIn. So we may just go ahead and jump in if we don't see anything in just a few seconds.
That's okay. I was jamming to the music though.
Gotta love the music. Gotta love the music. So we're having another episode of We Ain't Dying for This. So those of you who haven't joined before, We Ain't Dying for This is a weekly LinkedIn live series where I talk to Black women who are living life on their own terms, who have found what liberation looks like for them. And this week, we're talking about tapping as liberation. And I call this web show We Ain't Dying for This because Black women are dying. We're dying because we are stressed, we're overwhelmed, we are trying to be everything for everybody. We have been conditioned to be martyrs, and that is not what we should be. And in order for us to save others and be there for other folks, we have to be able to save ourselves first. So my hope is that through this web show, that folks are able to really grab onto some tools that other women have used to free themselves again from the expectations of others and that expectation of being everything to everybody. So let me just do a brief intro of Colette. Colette Ellis is the founder of Libby Health, a digital wellness company on a mission to promote mental health equity. She is also an experienced behavioral health coach and EFT tapping practitioner, specializing in leadership development, mental health, diversity, and inclusion. Colette helps clients transform challenges into opportunities by shifting their mindset with targeted somatic healing practices and digital tools. Welcome to the show, Colette.
Thank you, Crystal. And I hope you can see I came prepared. I'm wearing our liberation t-shirt. So tapping as liberation, representing on brand, on message.
I love it so much. And you told me something when we had our vibe session. You shared that Libby is actually short for liberation. And I had no idea that that was the case, but it was so profound. And like you said, right on brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just for those of you that are watching, hello to all of you. So Libby is our mental wellness app, and we'll be talking about tapping in a minute. But so teaser or spoiler alert, if you will, emotional freedom technique is what the EFT and tapping stands for. So when I was thinking about naming our chatbot in the app, I started thinking freedom, and then I was like, freedom, no, and then I got to liberation, and that was how I got to Libby. And Libby is Libbie for a little bit more distinction.
I love it so much. So you talk about EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and what led you to becoming a EFT tapping practitioner?
Absolutely. So, and I can't believe it. It's actually been 10 years since I actually first learned about EFT tapping. And although I think I told you in our earlier session, like if you had told me 10 years ago, you'll be building a tapping app, I would have thought, no, that's not going to be me. But because of my behavioral health coaching and leadership development and organizational development background, I was drawn to this healing method as another way of helping people to literally free ourselves from things like anxiety and stress and trauma. And so when you hear EFT tapping, so tapping is literally using your fingertips on acupoints. And for those of you that may have had acupuncture before, you might even be familiar with these points. Basically, these points are connected to the different meridians in the body. And so this is an evidence-based healing method. So for my fellow nerds out there, there's data, and you can check out the research on our website. But it's the combination of tapping on the points while speaking about your issues that really helps you to get the relief, not just in your mind, but also from your body.
Yeah, it is very powerful. I think the first time I heard about it was around the time that I heard about EMDR. And at the time, it was not a service that was covered by my insurance. But the woman who basically did a consultation with me and told me that she thought it would be helpful for me, she told me about tapping. So then I went on the internet and started looking and then actually found some videos and they were so helpful to me. And it's interesting because we often cannot sit still long enough to even like do meditation and mindfulness. So I also felt in the beginning, I was like, this is silly. Like, is it actually going to work? Like, me tapping myself on the face, is that actually going to help me? But it was so liberating in that moment because one, my attention was taken off of the thing that was bothering me, that had my anxiety high, that made me upset. And then once I got into it, I was like, "Oh my goodness, like I really feel so much better saying the messages and affirmations out loud and then also doing the tapping." So it was super helpful.
Yeah, I often tell people when we're first getting started, like, you can tap on anything, and I joke sometimes when I do workshops, I can say, like, "You can tap on, even though I think this is a load of crap, I don't think it's gonna work," right? Because
Mhm.
the other thing about tapping is while you can tap on, like what you were saying, affirmations and mantras, what tapping is really great at is digging in on the negative emotions, limiting beliefs, trauma from past experiences. So
Mhm.
I would often share with clients like tapping is a time where you can go in on the negative because that's what is getting released, right? It's in there anyway, right? We all talk to ourselves. Most of us have experiences, and you may not even know that you have the experience or that you still are holding on to the emotion from the experience until you get triggered, right? So you see something, you hear something, you smell something, something touches you in a certain area of your body, and all of a sudden, boom, you're back in that situation. It's almost like a flashback. And that's why tapping is also used with PTSD and other trauma victims, because it really can help again to lessen the charge of that emotional situation and clear it from your nervous system.
Yeah, definitely. So you talked earlier about it being evidence-based. Can you talk a little bit more about the science behind tapping? Because one of the things that I had mentioned earlier was that, EMDR was not covered by my insurance initially. Now it is covered. However, what I have heard is that um, sharing that tapping is part of the therapy is not something that insurance normally covers because they're like, no, EMDR is fine, but the tapping is not. So can you share a little bit more about the science behind it?
Right. Yeah. And that's a whole different conversation about insurance and reimbursements that we don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I have lots of opinions on that. Even some aspects of acupuncture I just found out this week, right? Private acupuncture, yes. Community acupuncture, not. Anyway.
Mm,
So, yes. So the points that are mentioned or that are included in EFT tapping, right? So you're tapping on points that are connected to different meridians in the body. So, for example, when you're tapping under your eye, this is connected to the stomach meridian, and it's also can be associated or helpful for relieving anxiety, right? So that's why it's a mind body or somatic healing technique because
mhm,
you are engaging these points with light pressure. So it's like acupressure, to be able to stimulate those points. And again, by stimulating the points and speaking about the issues, going through the rounds of tapping, that's what enables to help lessen again the charge and help to clear that emotion or that response from your nervous system. And so, yeah, there's studies that have shown it's been helpful for anxiety, for depression, for trauma issues, PTSD, as I mentioned. And it also can be helpful for physical pain as well, right? So, if you're having headache or neck ache or backache, one thing
Mhm.
I will say that I often share with folks is the body doesn't lie, right? So,
Yeah.
when we have physical pain, sometimes it really is just, oh, like my backpack is too heavy. Other times it's like I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders, right? And so, whether that physical pain is connected to a physical issue or there might be some emotional connection, tapping can still be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up about the body doesn't lie and it actually does keep score. I was talking to someone just earlier this week, and they were sharing how they had been in a very abusive, toxic work environment. And for them, they were proving people wrong. They were like, "Oh, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't matter if you don't think I can. I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to keep going no matter how much it is that you abuse me. I'm going to keep going." And when they stepped away from that role and were able to be still, they lost use of their legs because their body shut down. And it was such a powerful story because I think that we often don't think that the things that are happening and impacting us mentally, or the things that we think that we don't care about, we're actually pushing it down, and we're dealing with it in a way that is not healthy. And then it just impacts you like that. And again, it took away the use of his legs, and eventually he was able to walk again. But that story was so powerful, and then it made me think about my own story, and that there was a time that I took time off, like I took 30 days off of work for FMLA. I went on leave, and I came back with a whole new attitude. However, once I was able to actually be still, I could barely put sentences together. I was struggling so much to think in the ways that I had thought before. It was almost like my brain said, "No, girl, mm-mm, not right now, not right now." And it lasted for a while until I could get through it, like work my way through it in therapy. And then finally, I was able to just come back to myself. So it it's harmful.
Yes, yes, I can speak to not personal experience, former career of working in a toxic work environment, and kind of like you said, same thing, pushed through. Manager was, just had her own anger management issues, and so was very verbally, loud and abusive to us, also, externally on calls. And I remember, and I got downsized from that job, and it took me a while until one day I realized, oh, I don't have to go back into the office and get yelled at anymore. And it changed my whole perception of getting downsized from this role. Like, it just opened up a whole new avenue, and my mind, it was like the clouds cleared, and it was like sunny out. So that's on the positive side. And technically I am living through the experience of the body doesn't lie, without sort of, so I lost my father at the end of 2022, and sort of the same year that I actually launched Libby Health. So I've been in the, go, 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 go. phase. And now my body is starting to tell me certain things like, like right hand can't go above the head anymore, right? So I'm also living through this even at the same time that I share what I do, right? So it's and I share that just to say that, right, we're all human and we all are going to go through different life experiences, whether they are professional experiences or personal experiences, and things like tapping, things like breath work, things like movement, even things like acupuncture, like things that can help you get into your body in addition to coaching and therapy. I think sometimes we need both of those types of healing in order to really, like you said, get still, because we kind of live in a distraction culture. So I feel like these practices, they ground us, they get us back into our bodies. And it can be helpful to have support tools, whether that's digital tools like our app or, coaches, therapists, to be able to hold that space for you so that when you are experiencing these things, you have that guidance and that compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of your app, can you tell us how it works and what are people saying?
Absolutely. So Libby, the star of the app is Libby, and Libby is a mental wellness companion. And so on the back end, what we've done is we have taught Libby tapping. So when you engage with Libby in the app, based on the emotions you share, she'll tell you where to tap and what to say to get relief. So you don't have to remember, which point, where do I tap? What do I say? Right. We have created that experience in the app for you. And we also have included other features like mood check-ins, because again, it's really important for us to be able to really come into ourselves and really think about, like, how are we feeling, and also being able to identify what are some of the causes of those feelings, right? Is it
Mhm.
work? Is it personal? Is it health? And then we also have included other aspects, given that our app is, designed ideally for Black and brown folks. We include things like microaggressions, right? Because we recognize that, the situations that we've just been talking about do impact our mental health. And we've got self-care reminders, and we've got other features, journaling features, right? All designed to really be able to support you in your mental wellness journey.
Yeah. And if you don't have anybody else to talk to, journaling can be powerful in addition to the tapping. So amazing. And I'm really excited about this because we actually get the opportunity to go through a demonstration with you. Now that you told us about how Libby works, we're actually going to go through a demonstration with you. And then we have a special surprise for those who join the Design Your Soft Life community that is for Black women who are designing their soft life. Again, like the work that I do is to help Black women who are saving the world save themselves. So if you're interested in that, we will give you more information about how to get plugged in after we do the demonstration. So let's tap,
Yes,
Colette.
yes, yes. And I just want to acknowledge, I saw that Alicia made a comment that you can become numb to pain and health concerns in these types of spaces, right? So yeah, if you're not in a safe space, you do, right? You numb out, you distract, you find ways to push through. We've got this, all those sorts of things that we do to kind of keep ourselves not connected or disconnected to what's going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I will play the role of Libby tonight. And so basically, all you need to tap is your fingertips, right? So either hand, whichever feels more comfortable. You can tap with your left hand, you can tap with your right hand, you can tap with both hands. Um, and people always ask about the pressure, right? So you want to think about light enough pressure so that you feel it, so you're not trying to like bruise yourself and create marks on your face, right? Although I will admit, sometimes if I'm really frustrated, I feel like sometimes I'm tapping harder because I think that's going to make it work more. But again, so it's the thought process is that you are tapping on the points. And again, I use anywhere between 2 to 3 fingers on the face points. Again, you're connecting with it and you're making the connection, and just the actual action of tapping on the points is a step in the right direction. Okay, so primary points to tap on. So the first point we'll share is the eyebrow point. So it's the inside of the eyebrow, right, sort of where the hairs of your eyebrows start. And again, you can tap left or right side, depending on which feels more comfortable for you, or you can tap both. So eyebrow. And we've got side of the eye, which is the corner of your eye. So not in your eye, not all the way out here, but corner of your eye is called the side of eye point. I already told you about the under eye point, right? And when you're tapping onto the under eye point, you want to be tapping sort of not in your socket or in your eye, not on your cheek, ideally right where you feel the bone of your eye socket. So that's the under eye point. And you've got under the nose, so above your lip, between your nose and your lip. You've got the chin point, so right on your chin. Now the collarbone point's interesting. So if you feel like you know where the little knobs are of your collarbone, you're not tapping on the knobs. So if you think of coming just a little bit down and out, so it's kind of like there's even like a little bit of an indentation there. So that is the collarbone point. And then you have under the arm, which is, ooh, can't tap on that side. So not in your armpit, right? Not down all the way by your ribs, kind of at that middle point. And again, you can do either side, presuming that both of your arms go across.
Oh.
And then top of the head, top of the head. So on the top of the head is a really grounding point. So there are lots of uh, meridian points that collect up here. And so sometimes I will tap either in a circle or like front to back, but top of the head.
My bun is preventing the top of my head.
That's okay. It's head. It could be in the center. It could be towards the front. Either way is working. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the only other, not the only other, one of the other points is also the side of hand. So either again left on your right or right on your left, and that's another tapping point as well. Yeah. And so you can do sort of the full round that we've done, or you can so in the app, as I mentioned, each of the points is connected to different meridians in the body. So we share what those are in the app, and then also can be helpful for relieving certain emotions. So in the app, Libby, depending on the emotion that you share, she'll guide you to the right point and tell you what to say and where to tap.
Okay. I love it. Is it possible to go through one with like the words and together through each of the
Yeah,
points?
sure. What would you like to tap on? Anything that you wanna?
Maybe losing relationships, like grieving relationships.
Okay, got it. Okay, so grieving relationships or any kind of loss. And so so when we start tapping, if we're doing a full round, we actually will start with the side of hand point. And it's something that's called a setup statement. So the setup statement, if you've ever experienced, where you're saying positive affirmations or exciting things, and there's that little voice in the back of your ear like, I'm awesome, and the little voice in the back of your head goes, no, you're not, right? Like, we all have it. We all have the negative self-talk. There's the technical term is psychological reversal. So the setup statement allows us to quiet that voice a bit, or to create an opportunity for greater self-acceptance. And you'll understand that when you hear how the setup statement goes. So if I were tapping with you all, we would start with the setup statement, tapping on the side of the hand. We typically repeat the setup statement 3 times and then go into the rounds of tapping. So all right, so if you want to tap, depending on either side, whichever feels more comfortable, and you can repeat after me. So even though I am grieving the loss of a relationship,
I am grieving the loss of a relationship,
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself,
Even though I am mourning the loss of this relationship,
I am mourning the loss of this relationship,
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept myself.
love and accept myself,
Even though I am grieving the loss of this relationship,
I am grieving the loss of this relationship,
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself.
love, honor, and accept myself,
And anyone else
and anyone else
that may have been involved in this situation.
that may have been involved in this situation.
Okay, and then we'll start with the eyebrow point. This relationship, side of the eye, grieving the loss of this relationship.
Grieving the loss of this relationship.
Under the eye, this is no longer a relationship for me.
This is no longer a relationship for me.
Under the nose, grieving the loss of this relationship.
Grieving the loss of this relationship.
Chin, trying to move forward.
Trying to move forward.
Collarbone, with this shift in my life.
With this shift in my life.
This relationship.
This relationship.
This loss is difficult.
This loss is difficult.
I'm grieving this loss.
I'm grieving this loss.
It can be difficult to move on.
It can be difficult to move on.
Not sure how it's going to work out.
Not sure how it's going to work out.
but I'm still here.
But I'm still here.
I don't have all the answers.
I don't have all the answers.
But I'm open to finding new beginnings.
I'm open to finding new beginnings.
Okay, take a deep breath in.
Well, that was good.
That's yeah. And then what I would likely do is tap on the top of the head to get some balance and grounding. So I tap in balance.
I tap in balance.
I tap in abundance.
I tap in abundance.
I tap in harmony.
I tap in harmony.
I tap in peace.
I tap in peace.
Calling in healing.
Calling in healing.
To guide me through this shift.
To guide me through this shift.
All right, take another deep breath in. And if you have any water or anything, take a sip of water. So I know that wasn't your first time tapping, right?
No, it wasn't, but you have no idea how helpful it was to me, because when you're going through healing on your own journey, sometimes you lose people, people that you thought might be there, that are no longer in the places that you thought they would be. So that was a blessing to me. So thank you for that. And I hope that it was helpful for those who were listening and tapping along with us, whether you're listening live or if you're listening to the replay. We love to hear how that tapping exercise impacted you. Because not only just tapping on the areas, but also just the messages that you were saying were super helpful as well, just validating and reassuring. So I really appreciate you going through that entire exercise with us.
Yeah, thank you. Or my pleasure. Yeah, and I think one of the things about tapping, the way it works is there's something that's called borrowing benefit. So again, whether you were watching us now or if you do choose to watch the replay and do it again, you can be thinking about your own issue and still tap along and say what I said or follow along, and you will get some relief. What is the best, right, is when it's customized, right? But that's why when people have tapping videos, like you can watch any tapping video, it can be connected to your situation or not, you can still get those benefits. But in terms of why we built Libby, because when I work with clients, what they always say is like, oh, when you said this, it made me think of that, right? Because there's that neuro-linguistic component of tapping that if you're working, say, with a practitioner, right, I'm going to ask you like what's going on. I'm going to ask you questions about that. So you tell me, and then we include those words in the tapping, right? So it's this sort of, I like to say, for those of us remember from church, it's like a call and response, right? So you're saying it a couple of times, you're hearing it a couple of times. And I've even had situations where people will almost like after a certain round or thinking about a certain thing will almost laugh because it's that recognition of like, oh, wait, that's what I thought of that situation, right? And that doesn't happen for everyone. And obviously there are, if you're in sort of deeper issues, right, that's not maybe going to be your first experience with it. But I think because we do spend so much time in the vacuum of our minds, right? We don't always verbalize everything that we're feeling. So just that verbalization, sometimes it's the first time you've told anyone, right, that
Mhm.
what you're going through. So there's that benefit again of the tapping and the speaking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So such a great conversation with you here today, Colette. And I would love if anyone would like to continue this conversation with you or leverage the Libby app. Can you tell us where we can find you online, where we can find Libby?
Absolutely. Yeah. So and my posting, I was going to put it in the comments, but yeah, so our website is tapcom. So that's tap with LIBBIE.com, and under the get app section. So you can be an early adopter, and be able to actually gain your subscription right from the website. And also on social, on Twitter, it's Tap with Libby. And also we have a LinkedIn and a Facebook page under Libby Health.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Colette, again, as I mentioned before, has actually offered a month trial to the folks that are in the Design Your Soft Life Soulful Sisters community on Facebook. If you are a Black woman who is looking to design your soft life and thinking of different ways that you might liberate yourself, thinking of different ways that you might dive into self care for yourself, we'd love to see you there in the community where we will share more information about getting the subscription for 1 month to Libby. You're able to get connected and plugged in with that community. If you go to the link in my profile, the link is going to say Retreat with Me in Cartagena. And I think the first link is join the community. So you'll be able to join the community from there, and we will be sharing information about how you get plugged into that free trial within the next 24 hours.
Very cool. Very good. Cartagena. See.
Yes, come through, Colette. We'd love to see you there. But to
Happy
everyone,
Cartagena.
yeah. To everyone who's listening live or watching the replay, thank you so much for your time and your engagement during this call with us. And we'll see you again soon. Unfortunately, I actually will not be having a live next Thursday, but I will be live the week after that, which I believe is the 28th. I really hope I have my dates together, where we will be talking
Mhm.
to Dr. Haley Haywood. So cannot wait for that episode. And again, thank you so much for your engagement and for being here. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for being here,
Thank you,
Colette.
Crystal. It was awesome.